there's a connect with us, contact us area that is probably the easiest way that they can contact us, both in terms of the website and the Thank You Teachers Project is a page that comes from that website. So that is a place to go for both of them. And actually, that's probably the easiest way to contact me individually as well, is through the Contact Us. My email is there, and I would love to hear from anyone. I'm happy to work with them to help with them to create a reflection to be posted on the blog.
Great. I'm sitting here looking at your website, and it's got this big heart, and it says Teaching Heart, Fire, and Poetry. So for our listeners, that's teachingheartfirepoetry.com, and that's all like one word smushed together, Teaching Heart, firepoetry.com, and on there you can click on the Thank You Teachers or the Contact Us to reach out to Megan, and she will host you in writing and creating reflection. So again, thank you, Megan, for being on our show. It's always amazing to talk with you and very inspiring.
Well, thank you so much, Gloria. This has been such a pleasure, and I just really enjoyed it. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Megan, thank you so much again for being on the show, and thank you for your expertise in leading, editing, and, close to my heart, serving others. Again, if you'd like to learn more about Megan's work, I know she'd be absolutely delighted to hear from you. You can connect with her at her website, and it's called teachingheartfirepoetry.com. That's all smushed together like one word, teachingheartfirepoetry.com, teaching heart as in your heartbeat, firepoetry.com. And if you want to contribute to the Thank You Teachers Project, you can go on that same site and just click on that link, write your reflection. If you'd like to contact Megan, there's a Contact Us link on there, and I know she'd be very honored and pleased to help you, think through your reflection and maybe even edit it for you. How about that? Today and last week, we've been talking with Megan Scribner about her amazing work serving leaders throughout the world through a little book that she co-edited with Sam Intrater, a wonderful gem of a book called Leading from Within. And the full title is Leading from Within, Poetry That Sustains the Courage to Lead. Poetry that sustains the courage to lead. Now, you might be wondering, why would poetry be important to leaders? Poetry to me goes straight to the heart. If you think about poetry, sometimes we think about it, and we get into kind of this little buzz because many of us had, kind of rotten experiences in grade school or middle school or in high school with poetry because we analyzed it to death. We just kept ringing it and ringing it and ringing it until it was just absolutely dry. There was no more juice in it. But these leaders from all walks of life, from all different sectors, from people in public service to clergy, teachers, CEOs of huge companies, executive directors of foundations, architects, leaders from all kinds of spectrums found poems that they really, really loved, and they wrote a little essay about why it helps them as leaders. And these are the same kind of leaders that I work with every day, so I know the power of poetry to change hearts, change lives, and actually change and sustain leaders in a way where they can thrive and really flourish. Now, if you missed last week's show, part 1 of Leading from Within, guess what? You can listen to it right here on Talk Network Radio. As 21st century leaders, we could all benefit, I believe, from having more of the arts in our life. Now, whether it's poetry or music or sculpture, whether it's painting or dance or other types of expressive movement or expressive arts, what we know is that leading in today's teams and organizations, leading in today's communities and families, leading in today's nations, we need something more something more than the dried up, parched vocabulary of management and leadership. Leading is filled with all kinds of challenges that we couldn't even think about, even anticipate 30, 20, 10, or even 5 years ago, right? And we know that the language of leading, even the language of teams and organizations, is just too puny. It's too small. It's too restrictive and constrained for the incredible diversity and complexity and creativity that defines contemporary organizations and communities. The arts, in general, offers us a vocabulary, a lens, a spirit, if you will, a very special kind of expressiveness and expansiveness that speaks to the kind of challenges and opportunities we face in today's world. The arts, especially poetry, offers leaders a gateway, a door, a bridge to walk through or across into a whole new region, into a whole new realm of possibility, a whole new realm of imagination and innovation and inspiration. And isn't that what we need these days? I mean, this is really my zone. We all want our leaders to be inspiring, don't we? I mean, we're like that proverbial moth drawn to the fire, drawn to a flame, right? So we're naturally drawn to people who inspire us. I mean, think about how we're drawn to sports figures or figures in the arts or the entertainment world, right? I mean, we pay money, good money, to watch these people burn, right? So we're all drawn to people who lift us up, who inspire us. But you know what? Before leaders, or anybody else for that matter, can inspire others, they must first be inspired. Now, how many of you know that the word inspire comes from the word inspirare? Inspirare, which means to breathe into or upon. And to become inspired, leaders, all of us, we must be infused with life, infused with life, with a force from outside of ourselves. Now, you might be wondering, how does this happen, right? Well, that's a whole nother show. But let me just say this. Maybe, sometime I'll actually do a show on inspiration. But for now, when we're infused with inspiration, something shifts and something changes. Some people say that magic happens. Now, I say that the impact might be magical, but there's nothing magical about inspiration. It's really about being open, about keeping ourselves open and becoming a channel, a conduit for the divine. The great sculptor Michelangelo speaks about this, as well as many other artists. Now, Michelangelo was a painter, a poet. He was a sculptor, as we all know. He was also a scientist. And he was also an inventor, what we call these days an Imagineer. An Imagineer. Michelangelo understood, he really understood what it was to be a channel. To be a channel and to consider what it meant to just drop it, right? To surrender. To surrender himself as an instrument of the divine. When he spoke about his exquisite marble sculpture of David, he said this. He said, "I saw the angel in the marble. I saw the angel in the marble, and I carved until I set him free." Wow. How cool is that? Talk about being an instrument of God. A recent trip to Tuscany, right in the heart of Italy, I had the good fortune to once again see Michelangelo's artistry. I was standing at the foot of this magnificent sculpture of David, and I was actually just taken out of that room. I was transported into another place, into another realm. Now you have to realize that the sculpture of David, the young boy who's about to duke it out with the mighty Goliath, this amazing statue is 14 and a half feet tall. Now that's as tall as a 2-story building. And that doesn't even include the base, which is about 3 feet high. So imagine about 17 feet. So I'm standing there at the foot of this amazingly magnificent sculpture, and I'm in heaven, of course. Forget about the bee's nest of other people buzzing around me. Dozens of other folks who are just, like me, they're there to admire this amazing work of art. I mean, they're shooting videos, posing for selfies. You get the picture, right? Pardon the pun. I'm in the midst of this sea of humanity, right? And I have this wonderful, wonderful epiphany, this amazing aha. I realized right then and there that the task of the artist and the task of the leader is actually one and the same. Now, just what is this task? Task is to release our resistance. Just give it up, right? To release our resistance, to simply surrender to what wants to be born through us and in us. In our marriages, in our friendships, our families, our communities, what wants to be born in and through us in our teams, and in our organizations. Art is so powerful. It can be a powerful ally if we just open our hearts and minds. Art can be an ally, a resource to help guide and support us in how we lead and in how we live. Now, if you missed last week's show or any part of this week's broadcast, you can listen to the recording at your convenience. You can even listen to it on the go. Whee! How about that? Yay! You can check it out at www.talknetworkradio.com/Legacy Living. That's my archives page. So if you missed it last week or this week or any other show that's coming up, you can listen to it anytime on the go, 365, 24/7. You can listen to it over and over again if you'd like. And just check it out on www.talknetworkradio.com/Legacy Living. Now, before I close today, I want to thank each of you for tuning in to today's show, for allowing me to be a part of your journey and to tell you a little bit more about what legacy living is all about. Not just living and learning, but living and learning and serving, so that you make a difference in your own life and in the lives of others. It's about being on purpose, being intentional every single day. Not perfect, but intentional. 365, 24/7. Legacy living is one of the many ways to make your life count. Before I close today's show, I want to thank you for joining me here today. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess, and this has been Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. Please join me again next week right here on Talk Network Radio for another show of Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. We're here again next Wednesday, 10 a.m., right here, Talk Network Radio. Don't just count the days in your life. Make the days in your life count. That's what legacy living is all about. Have a fantastic day, and remember, make the days in your life count. God bless. That's our show today. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess. I hope you'll join me again next week. Until then, don't just count the days in your life